Consider supporting Sonicguru Productions on Patreon for just $1 a month. Link below in the description. Let's get on to the one news. It's been a week. I'm still playing Crash Bandicoot. I've managed to get to the meet the female entropy.
Mm-hmm.
That's creepy. It's so creepy.
I don't know. I look at it in the same way, like the two Latessa twins in Bioshock Infinite. That's kind of what.
At least they're brother and sister in that one. They actually do
Well,
work up. This one,
they say that.
He's outright flirting with his female counterpart.
I know. I mean, they say they're brother and sister, though they do know they're from other universes. So maybe they just call them that. Who knows? I mean, they're both the same person from alternate verse.
I will say I do love the cutscenes. I love the cutscenes.
Mm.
Needs to be a Netflix series. At least a series of shorts to do it.
Yeah, this is everybody keeps saying about that, which is funny enough, we can lead us into our main subject.
Yeah. Very briefly, and I mean very, very briefly, a tweet came out from Netflix saying that a new modern 3D animated series was coming to Netflix in 2022.
Mm.
As quickly as it was shown, the tweet read, Rings, check. Sneakers, check. Speed, Sonic. Sega's legendary video game icon Sonic the Hedgehog races onto Netflix in a new 3D animated series from Sega, Wild Brain and Man of Action premiering in 2022.
Mm.
Minutes after they deleted the frickin' tweet.
Yeah. Although, knowing us, we're going to find ways of finding copies of those.
And to quote from TalesChannel.com, great website, great channel as well, go subscribe. Sega did not make an official announcement at the time of the publication. Of course they did. I guarantee Sega's the one who told them to take it down.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when it comes to this kind of thing, any other publisher, like Crash 4, for example, we talked about it last time, how someone got a puzzle, there was speculation of this one bit of artwork saying Crash 4, it's about time, and we had dubbies about it. The day after that leak came out, they officially announced Crash Bandicoot 4.
Yeah, I was going to say this
has been about a day, and we still got no new news from Sega directly.
Yeah. Like I said, this is a similar scenario to the Crash 4 thing, which the difference is, this wasn't all 4chan, so we can sort of take it more or less it could be real. I mean, given that site is always just rumor mill like crazy. And second, again, given how this is pointed out, again, this is like maybe this was done too early or whatever, and as you said,
more likely too early. I think they would wait until maybe next year, the next South by Southwest or the next Tokyo Game Show, or even the next online.
Well, leading up probably to the 30th anniversary, I think if they were going to do that, they would want to say it then.
Yeah, I would think they would wait until at least June. Speaking of which, I need to start the work on the 30th anniversary Summer of Sonic team. I have no clue what I'm going to do.
We have to do these things early, folks, because that's how it works in the world of entertainment.
Yeah, I was doing the last two Summer of Sonic teams as the freaking Sonic team was going on.
Exactly, that's how it works.
Yeah, I'd never do 30 videos in one freaking day, 1 month.
You never rest. We never rest.
But this is... It's really interesting. Like this is from the official Netflix Twitter as well.
Yeah.
And ever since Castlevania made its way onto Netflix, we've got some new ones coming on as well. There's the new Resident Evil series coming on Netflix. There's rumors of a Assassin's Creed. And there was another one as well. I can't remember what it was that was coming onto Netflix. So I'm not too sure whether or not any other streaming apps are actually having exclusive video game-based adaptations.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix for the last couple of years have had this sort of thing of original content, and particularly animation. That's a big thing they're really driving home the last few years.
Original content for Netflix, I keep seeing there's a lot of foreign films. A lot of dramas as well. It's like, I just want to watch the stuff you fucking took off in the first place. Give me Demolition Man.
Well, that's the thing with Netflix, is that one day it's there, the next thing you know, it's gone, and you won't even...
Yeah, we just watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which took us nearly over a year to watch. It's time. It's time and mood, really. But we watched it, and it told us, time to watch it before it leaves Christmas. We're like, good fucking thing we're watching it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but like I said, the animation's particularly a thing they've been trying to push the last few years. I mean, She-Ra, a new Carmen San Diego series, Hilda, that's the show I recently saw. And yeah, these are meant to be these big, prestigious primetime animated shows, which is really where it's sort of going. I know Craig McCracken or Powerpuff Girls is working on a new show for them. And
Mm.
there's even been two features, Klaus, which is a fully 2D animated feature, and then there's another one from an ex-Disney animator. So again, they've been pushing a lot of animation on that service.
Yeah, another thing as well, the company Wild Brain,
Yeah, yeah, this
they
is the thing.
worked
So,
on the three Geek Sonic cartoons.
no, all right. So here's the thing. When I discovered this, the two things I want to remind is one, is that logo real? Because that's something I would ask you, Mr. Logo Man, And I'm kind of curious, have you seen that image of Sonic anywhere else, that sort of pose in any other media?
Frequently, it's a very generic looking pose.
Hmm.
You take the feet away, and essentially you've got the top half of the logo.
Yeah, the thing it reminded me of was weirdly enough the one of the flyers that I got at Cineworld in York for the Sonic movie, which still have one actually. So that was the thing it
You
immediately.
gave me two of them actually.
Yes, it did, but it basically had the same basic, pose in there.
Yeah,
So
it's a very
that was
generic pose. It reminds me more. I'm trying to think Sonic 4.
kind of, yeah. I mean, they did have a few renders of that sort of running pose.
Yeah, and I'd say Sonic actually has more of a stand. It's like as far as the Sonic animation goes, could this actually be more based on the games or original content?
Yeah, this is something I want to bring in. So as soon as this popped up, the other thing I did was to look into the two people, so the two companies. So WildBrain, as you briefly mentioned. So WildBrain is the best way I could describe it is they're a Canadian-based sort of broadcaster, whatever you want to call it, studio. And the best way I could describe it is that they're kind of like the Canadian equivalent of Disney, that they bought up a lot of these properties, stuff that used to be on in the 80s and 90s, and they're online. It's through them. So one of them I found out is apparently they own the rights to the 70s Paddington series, that stop motion show. So they currently own that. And
Huh.
you mentioned there the big thing people have been pointing out is they currently own all three Deke Sonic cartoons. I think even the Super Mario shows as well. So they own them. It's their property.
Yeah, you can actually watch it online. Oh, watch it on YouTube if you want, free of
Yeah,
charge.
and that's what I mean. It's like this is what I mean when people. The irony is that these shows used to be on TV, then DVD, and whatever, and then after a while, they're just like, "What do you do with them?" And they get uploaded through these channels. So, yeah, there's an official WildBrain Sonic channel, I think, where you can watch Adventures at AM and Underground on there.
Underground for me. It's in the category so bad it's good. Okay, I don't care what people say.
Yeah, I,
When you
I,
start singing that theme song, you are joining in like a fucking karaoke. I
uh,
remember Summer Sonic Team 2013, 2014.
yes, they did. They had a karaoke of it.
2012, I believe.
Yeah, it was one of the years.
Yeah, someone played the theme. There was actually it was never mind the Buzz Bombers. They played the theme backwards. They guessed it. It started playing. Everyone started singing,
Singing.
and when it stopped, when the music stopped, they kept singing, and then it just kind of petered out, and they were just upset it stopped.
Yeah, I do remember. I do remember they did the karaoke thing where they just had the instrumental and just had whoever's on stage sing it. I think that was one of the
I'm
rounds
not a
as
good
well.
singer, but I could sing all the lyrics.
Yeah, yeah. So that's that. So the second company is Men of Action. So to
That I
clarify,
do know.
all right. So Men of Action, they're the team. It's actually a group of people. So it's basically named after a bunch of comic artists, and they're the people behind Ben 10, Generator Rex. They've done various other action shows. They did a lot of the Marvel stuff. So they did Marvel's Avengers Assemble, sorry, and then Ultimate Spider-Man, and sort of a lot of when they moved to Disney. So they were responsible for those shows. And more recently, they've done something called Zack Storm and Power Players. So they're
Mm.
kind of in sort of like the base sort of action adventure show for it's like 6 to 9 year old kids. Weirdly enough, one of the things they're also responsible was Big Hero 6. Like they originally did it as a comic for Marvel, and then Disney eventually turned it into their own animated film, which is now a series.
A 2D animated series or a 3D animated
It's
series?
a 2D series, yeah. They've done Big
How
Hero
come
6.
I didn't know every single 3D animated film that gets a big franchise made out of it gets turned into a freaking 2D animated series as well. Like
Well, there was
even Hotel Transylvania has a freaking animated series.
yeah, there's a show of that as well. Yeah.
It looks weird.
Yeah, well, then again, I'll put it this way: Wildbrain also owns the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs series. Apparently, that's another thing they own.
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, so
But if I was like, I was saying like original content or adaptation, it's like, if that is the image they showed, that's the image they showed on the tweet, is that N and the red Sonic.
Which you would have thought they made it blue, just as a contrast, but whatever.
Red's their color, so why not?
I know it's that color.
In fact, actually, psychologically, red is the most attractive color for the eyes anyway. That's why a lot of logos have red in them.
And there you go, folks. Color theorist.
I'm hoping it's going to be. I'm leaning towards more adaptation than I am original content. Like I like the original content, I like the original stories they come up with, like Sonic Boom, basically. Less comedic. I'll get onto the theme in a bit, but as far as I like to have a adaptation, it's like, could you do a more faithful adaptation adventure through to Forces? Could we finally see Sonic Heroes and Sonic Rush? But knowing how Sega is kind of sweeping its law under the fucking rug, and you know it is. Everyone knows they are. It's like, Shadow's created on a thing, mysteriously created on. No, Shadow is said to be born or created on a thing called the Ark. It's like, not supposed, not mysteriously, fact. He was created by the fucking Ark. He was half alien.
Well, this is what I keep saying with the Sonic lore, is in they are, for the most part, we know this happened in some of the previous games, whether they acknowledge it or put it in like the bio. That's a different thing they seem to be doing for the last few years.
Yeah, I still accept that BlazBlue is basically from the future. I was actually reset.
Yeah, again, this.
I don't. I even think it's like, no, it happened. It happened. It's in these bios. It's what it's intended to be. Would that come across in the final game? No, it didn't. She's from the freaking dimension, not the future. I am not accepting that.
Yeah,
I know the evidence is there, but I mentally cannot accept that. And I've said that several times. I mentally cannot accept the fact that Blaze is from the future and Sonic 06 is canon in some regard. Just no.
Yeah. With the irony of that game, it basically, at the end, none of it matters because it all gets erased. So there you go.
And the future still exists back for Silver on occasion.
Yeah, so
even Sonic Colors DS is somewhat considered canon somehow.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm getting off on a tangent.
The fact that Silver still exists, I mean, that's a whole other subject. But either way, back onto animated stuff. So,
I would say more original content, but as far as the theming goes, I would like to see it by what was it? I was at Steven Universe Adventure Time. Like, it has as an arc. It has value, but it's an adventure and it's fun. And it focuses on the characters, not just, hey, isn't this explosion big?
It depends how you do it. I mean, here's my take. Every one of these shows has been a surprise to me. Like, every time they announce one of these, well, even back then, it was just, I discovered it. So Adventures in Saturday were totally out of the blue, and then a few years later, Underground just came out of nowhere. Yeah. And then
when Sonic X came out, I was like, this is when everyone discovered Sonic Central.
Yeah, well, for me, it was like I discovered a website. There was a website called Sonic X Anime, so it was basically a website.
I saw it through the Sonic Central website, and it had the preview episode. It was like 5 minutes long.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
And it had a lot of stuff that was not in the show.
Yeah,
in the intro, but you didn't see it in the show.
Yeah, that's the irony. I mean, that was basically just like a teaser, whatever. We said this before, like teaser for a show that we like to make, but of course, A, it doesn't take place in Sonic's world, and B, it's a slightly different tone as well.
Wanted to see Knuckles driving the car. Damn it!
You wanted that floating car. That's what you wanted in. You wanted
Knuckles driving a floating car. Later in 2003, Adventure came on CITV. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, it was on CI. Sonic X came on to CITV, the 4Kids dub, and then moved to Jetix, which was still for kids before they changed it to just being that, and eventually turned into Disney XD, which, as of recording, doesn't exist anymore. Apparently, Disney Channel, that's no longer on. They've gone.
Thank God for that. I got some bad blood with Disney XD.
Yeah, but that's a different story.
And then Sonic Boom, we all know that 2014, it was just mad. Like,
Yeah. And again, the fact that it was like, oh, we're doing this spin-off series, with these different games and comics and toys. Oh yeah, there's a TV series. And as I said before, for me, the idea of doing a spin-off series was fine. But the moment they said, oh, this is an animated show, I was like, I'm in. I don't care. I'm into this.
the game. It's just,
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean. Like every one of these shows, they have always sort of come out of the blue. That for me, it's always been like a surprise, and they've never been what I expect to be.
I would say not just in the shows, really. I think it's every time there's a new Sonic game announced or going to be an announcement, even the build-up. Like I know we're in a drought for Sonic games. Drought as in 3 years. 2 years, if 1 or 2 years, considering we had Team Sonic Racing last year or the year before.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
And
last year.
I won't say it's a drought. It's just we haven't got anything substantial to go on. It's just nothing. We've got one teaser image and we've got a logo. That's all we have.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the movie, we had the comics, but as far as game nothing. So
every
time we're going on to an announcement, it is a big event, and when the game comes to launch, it gets bigger and bigger that's an event. And we know what happens next. People don't like it. It's not what they wanted.
Yeah, that's the sort of cycle stuff. I mean, this is the difference I've seen from the games and the shows, because the games, everybody's wanting it to be what they imagine their ideal Sonic game is. Whereas the TV show, it is just like, it's going to be what it is. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't even know what this version is going to be. It's surprising that supposedly it's going to be another CG show, especially after Boom. I mean, I know a lot of people were hoping after Many Adventures and Overdrive, they were hoping, they should do a new 2D one, like those little shorts. And I was kind of a bit ambivalent, because on one side is, ideally that's what we should have, but really there's no way, if they were to do this as a primetime series, whether it be on TV or online, I don't know if they can keep the same quality of those, because they were built as again, they had arcs, Many Adventure had like it was a 5-part arc thing. And again, they had enough time to at least make them. I mean, they're not like the most elaborately animated stuff, but they got enough done for what they could.
Yeah.
So
the thing is though as well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think doing a 3D animated show is easier than a 2D animated show.
It's arguably more cost effective, because you are reusing, assets and characters and all that stuff. And again, even Boom. I mean, hell, Series 1 ends literally with a joke of saying, imagine all the stories we could do with the same 5 locations. The possibilities are endless. So, there you go.
I just got that canon joke in my head again, for fuck's sake. I love that joke.
Yeah. Of all the pointing out the obvious, they do that. That's the joke that really gets you, isn't it?
Yes, that gets me every time.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? It could be another. There's people saying how it could be season 3 of Boom, but even Adam Tuff, he had no idea what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like
even he was surprised.
Yeah, to be fair, he told me. I mean, I met him a few years ago in Leeds, and he told me, "Oh, by the way, I know what the 25th anniversary game is going to be." I mean, he didn't tell me what it was, but it's like, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So he knew about Mania before anybody else. So even if he doesn't know about this, then that's a big shocker.
But right now, all we have to go on is this one deleted tweet, which has got everyone in a freaking frenzy.
Yeah, I did see some people going quite mad because, like you said, because they now currently own the Deke shows. A lot of people saying, "Oh, they can bring back the Freedom Fighters and stuff." It's like, yeah, but that's a whole. Yeah, they own the show.
That's a whole legal trouble.
I know, that's the show. They own those old shows. They don't own the characters or necessarily. This is the weird thing, because Sega technically owns, they should own, because the end of the credits, it always says like property of Sega of America, blah, 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 original characters. And again, when you
they don't officially license those. The only ones they license is X onwards.
Yeah. Because that is the big difference, because those shows, there was like, okay, we're licensing the property of Sonic for you to make these shows. So that's when they can go, again, that's when we get.
Yeah, I think it's commissioned is the word.
Commissioned, basically. That's what it is. So
the first 3 Deke shows were commissioned. Like Underground was commissioned to actually get people interested in Sonic again. They wouldn't give any details. It's like, just make another show.
Yeah, I mean, the irony is some people were hoping it to be a follow-up. I think initially were hoping it would be a follow-up to Sat EM, and of course they the irony of that show is that it seems to have the same world and some of the base ideas from SATM, but it decides, oh, let's just turn it Alvin and the Chipmunks. That was literally the concept they went with.
I consider it an alternate universe of Sonic.
Yeah, but like I said,
it's
that's
like instead of Sally, it's Sonic who's royalty.
Yeah, but they're gonna get it's the fact that that's what they went with is basically let's take the world and character of SATM and then shove silly songs in it. Apparently that was their grand plan.
I like some of the music in the show.
But like I said, this whole thing of, again, I've never known, sorry if I keep repeating myself, folks, but I never know what these shows are going to throw at us. And that's part of the fun. They've never been what we predicted. And what you said earlier with it being more of a faithful adaptation, I mean, X was kind of that. I mean, they took the baseline.
It was intentional to basically, we're just going to make our own show, but we're adapting the adventure and battle games.
Yeah, we're taking the base elements of those stories and then doing it in our show, which is probably, again, I don't know whether they would want to do that again, considering that X was sort of that. But then again, they said different teams, whoever.
Well, if IDW can actually continue the story on from Forces, I don't see why not.
It depends if they want to really continue with that. If they're going to be more like, okay, if the show's going to continue on where the game left off, that can do that, and then maybe lead up to one of the series can lead up to the next game or whatever. If they were going to do, again, that's ideally what Boom should have been in a sense. This sort of big multimedia cross-platform thing. But of course, as we know, it was just one license, and they just all did their own crazy thing with it.
Especially the comics. Yeah, I don't think Fling gave a shit. It's like, can I do all the silly stuff I wanted to do in the main arc? Good. Sonic's holding on to a freaking text box.
Yeah, well, again, they totally no, we're going to break the fourth wall. No, we're going to literally mess with the paneling of that comic. We're going to literally do any crazy stuff with that.
There's about a few levels deep, shy of Sticks actually grabbing you by the throat.
Yeah. Or tearing up the page itself, metaphorically, like she would tear up the page.
And escaping into the real world.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she escaped into the world of Mega Man. She managed to do that somehow.
And no one better than I.
Yeah. And speaking of which, going back to Man of Action, I mean, they were actually responsible for doing that Mega Man Fully Charged series, which I know some people were a bit pissed because that was a big reinvention of basically Mega Man.
It felt way too kiddie for me. I thought I gave it a shot, and it just went no. Just no.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say that some of the other shows, like I said, Zack Storm and Power Players, it's like they are intentionally for a younger audience. So my only initial concern is if they're going down that direction, then again, that's my kind of worry. And this will be intended for a much younger audience than us. I mean, first of all, we're old little shits in comparison to most people these days. So
I'm a 16-year-old and a 31-year-old body. Shut up.
All right, if you want to think like that. But like I said, the irony with those shows is that if we were like 6 or 8 years old when those shows are on now, we would totally love them. We would totally be into
definitely.
them.
I sat down and watched the entirety of Cubics.
And there you go. So, it's not saying we're not trying to be just grumpy old shits and, oh, you young people can't be happy. It's like, no. It's just like we can tell if a certain show is made for them, and if they enjoy it, that's great. We don't want to be the grumpy old sods in the background going
there's a big difference between I hate it and not for me.
I don't get it. Yeah, this is it. So that's my only concern. I mean, given that these are the same people, or at least a lot of those shows that they made, Man of Action, they personally were behind, the first Ben 10 and Generator Rex, which I really like. I really like those two shows. I mean, the first Ben 10 was good, and then the subsequent sequels could shoot into the sun for all I care because they're all just bloody stupid as hell.
Dead in the reboots.
Yeah, and then the reboots. Then Generator Rex felt like the proper follow-up to what Ben 10 should have turned into, but another story. But yeah, I think a lot of and again, wheeling off a lot of the episodes, because again, they were behind the development of a lot of these shows, including the Mega Man show. So they weren't necessarily the main writers. They kind of came up with the premise, they came up with the pitch Bible. So this is the world, these are the characters, whatever. Then we give it to writers, they go off and do that, which in a way is kind of what happened with Boom, that they were given, this is the universe of Boom, but you're allowed to sort of play around and you want to add jokes in, that's fine.
I say make it a non-arc comedic series until season 2, where it actually was continuations.
Again,
I still hate Return to the Valley of the Cubots. I hate that episode.
Why? Because of it just being...
Because he got everything wrong.
Why are
Hey,
they
it,
why are they
hey,
back in the middle of a valley when they were supposed to be in the robots with the skies? Why are they not there?
yeah. Also, big question: why the fuck is Defect there? Like, I know it's, I think it is the episode by Pontaf.
Yes, it was that
And
one.
what's the one thing I don't fucking write in? Where the fuck is Styx?
The one, yeah, it's one of those weird episodes where
Where is
Styx is
she going to
not
call
around.
call Defect the Adorabot 3000?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was right there, guys, right
Mm,
there.
yeah. Like I said, I don't know. I mean, again, last thing about Man of Action is like a lot of the stuff, even when they did episodes of Ben 10 Jerry Rex, they did a lot of vertically comedic stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're calling this an action show. There will be a lot of jokes in this, depending if this is going to be for younger
As
or
long as you get a good balance in the writing, though.
exactly. I think if you can get the tone right, I think that's an important thing is, both from writing, but also the tone of the shows. And like, you can still have your jokes, but can still enjoy the pacing and
Yeah,
the
like
action.
Sonic, like we said, Sonic Boom is primarily a comedic series,
Yeah, it's a
but
sitcom.
it had some good action.
Mm.
It wasn't
I mean, so it
basically
went
all of a sudden,
on.
as soon as action comes out, it's all of a sudden the comedy just drops like a fucking anvil.
For
There
the
was still
most part,
comedy
yeah.
woven into the action as well.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it became a point where, like the action would normally just be like, okay, we're near the end of the episode, let's just have a big battle scene, and that's to tie up the episode. And sometimes they do it either the beginning or they
It's
do
like
it
a
fake it.
Megazord battle in the Power Rangers,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh god, Power Rangers did that all the time.
especially the first season because that's just padding out the episode.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't hopefully don't want to do that.
I still think Lightspeed's pretty good. It took a great concept.
Mm.
So that
I guess I guess the last thing going back to Netflix, being on that channel, I mean the irony is that Boom is in the UK at least. Series one of Boom is on Netflix. They have yet to show series two for whatever
oh
reason.
yeah, that's the one thing I forgot. I was gonna bring it up, but you started talking. I completely forgot about it. Being on Netflix gives you a wider audience
Mm,
because what did they do in? Yeah, here's the first half of the first 8 episodes of Boom on Cartoon Network.
yeah.
There's the rest of season 1 and season 2 exclusively on Boomerang, which you have to pay for an additional package on your cable provider.
Yeah.
Fuck, fuck
And
you.
that's on your side. On my bloody side, they put series one on Boomerang, then it disappeared for about 4 years and only appeared in Pop just less than 2 years ago. And now it's on Sky Kids in HD. So there you go. That's the weird back and forth of that series being shown.
And it's only available. It's also available on DVD. Where's the Blu-ray release? It's a HD CGI cartoon. Give me the fucking Blu-ray of both seasons in one go. Fuck's sake. It's not that much of an ask. If
Yeah.
Sonic X can get a standard Blu-ray release, why
Well,
can't
I checked that out actually. The Blu-ray release, the episodes are still in standard definition, i.e., the
yeah,
picture.
it's called a standard Blu-ray
Yeah, I mean, these things. Don't expect it
rather
to
than
be
yeah.
any. It's not like they've gone back and cleaned up the master tapes or anything. They're still like the quality would have been on TV back then, but just on Blu-ray.
Well, this is going to be big news. It'll be in the back of everyone's heads until they actually announce anything
Mm.
next year, which we
Yeah,
guarantee between South by Southwest and Sonic's 30th anniversary.
yeah. But again, it's like I am interested in this. I really, like I said, I've always loved the Sonic cartoons as they come out because again, they've always been their own separate entity. And so whatever this one's going to be, whether it's going in the direction we discussed here or whether it's a completely different animal, we don't know. But I'm totally looking forward to it. I mean, as you said,
Everyone's
the
looking
fact,
forward to it.
yeah, I mean, the
It's
fact
not
that
a
he's going
game
to
they
be,
can complain about the gameplay, and hopefully if they pick the right theme, the right um, tone and context, it could
mm,
be one of the best animated shows since I guess I am for most people.
yeah, I mean, the Saiyan for a lot of people is like the gold standard of what they think for a lot of people. But again, I say Boom is the most enjoyable to rewatch. I think that's the one I can go back and rewatch more often. So it depends. And like I said, Netflix do have a good track record of getting at least decent animated shows on the channel. Although they do have Johnny Test there, which also was owned by Wild Brain, which makes me want to literally rip my skin off and smack the first sentient being's face in if I ever even talk about
Hmm.
that show. So there you go. That's my only fear is like if they try and shove in a Johnny Test cameo in that show, I'm out. I'm sorry. I'm not going to live in this world anymore.
Maybe it'd be a good cameo. It'd be a skeleton in the background with a fuzzy hair.
Oh, if only. If only. Oh, that I would be a happy man. I would be a happy man.